Hi everybody, sanibonani, welcome to my channel. Igama lami Mdletshe, and on this channel buka ama reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sokhuluma ngawo lama shows, senza ama reviews or ama recaps. Siyaphinda futhi sikhulume ngama celebrities kanye nama YouTubers ethu ala eMzansi. And today, you guys, it's a special day because we get to do a full review of Isencane Lengane. It's season 5, episode 1. Okay, it's a premiere episode of this season. We've been waiting for the show to come back for a while now. It's back, you guys. It's almost like we love the toxic that is a relationship. Siyacela Ntando. We like watching that train wreck. We love it. Okay, so we're going to do the full review. I have things that I'm very happy to see on this show, and of course I have things that I'm not so happy to see still on this show, but we're going to talk all about it. Okay, siyaphinda-ke futhi sikhuluma ngama-celebrities nama-YouTubers ethu ala eMzansi. If it's your first time joining us today and you think this is the channel for you, please press the subscribe button la ezansi kanye ne-notification bell ukuze phela uthole umyalezo uma ngabe umsebenzi omusha sesiwufakile. Listen, you guys, those who want to be members of the channel, there is a membership, and my plans for this year is that I will have content for members this year. So if you think you want to be a member of this channel, please press the join button below. Siyabonga kakhulu to everybody that watches ama adverts too. So this season, you guys, which is season 5, and I thought it's supposed to be season 6. I'm so confused usually with the seasons as Isencane Lengane. But you guys, for those who've never watched Isencane Lengane is a show that is based on the lives of two young people. They are a married couple. They got married. We were all shocked a few years ago. One was 16. Some reports say that Siyacela was 17 and Ntando was 16, but some say that Ntando was 15 and Siyacela was 16. So they were very, very young when they were getting married, rural children, you know. And at the time, they had fallen in love with each other. They were still they were still at school. But abazali babo, especially Siyacela, ubaba kaSiyacela, ubaba Dlamuka, really wanted to help Siyacela to get a wife. You know, he wanted to pay lobolo for Siyacela because he really believed ukuthi should he pass or should he pass, nobody was going to help Siyacela because Siyacela no longer had a mother. His mother passed a while ago. Okay, so he was raising Siyacela as a single father, even though he did have two other, you know, wives that we have actually seen on the show, but he had always expressed that he had raised Siyacela on his own, and so it was really important to him that he pays ilobolo for Siyacela, and he sees Siyacela getting a wife and starting a family. And it just so happened that Siyacela had met this girl from Nkandla, because Siyacela, the Dlamuka family, is from Olundi. Kodwa Thando, the girl that he married, was from Olundi. Okay, so we all watched this season 1 almost like a joke, because we thought honestly they were never going to get married. The lobola was paid. We watched that season and they got married, you guys. The finale episode of season 1 of Isencane Lengane was Thando getting married, which I think was the saddest episode that I've ever seen. Okay, I've ever watched. Okay, they got married, and then seasons following that, we've been watching their lives, which hasn't been smooth at all. Unfortunately, Bab Dlamuka, who is the person that was very instrumental in and that influenced a decision for them to get married, passed away last year. So he is no longer part of the story. He was actually a big part of a story of Isencane Lengane. He was one of the 3 cast members that were paid cast members according to the reports. Okay, so now we are watching season 5. Now it's different because obviously Bab Dlamuka is no longer there. It was different last season because of course he couldn't participate on the show because he was very ill during the time when they were shooting the show, and we also got to see his funeral and all of that. So even though he wasn't there last season, but he was still part of the story. So his absence was like not as it's going to be this season, because we still were hearing about the stories of how sick he was and all of that. Now he has passed, so the show is different, because now you have Ntando no Siyacela. We don't know who else they're going to introduce as this permanent cast members to this show, because they had 3, now they have 2. Okay, so this season, when it starts, you guys, I was so happy. I was so happy, because that is one thing that I complained about last season, that they no longer shoot a lot of scenes olundi, with Isencane Lengane. And the unfortunate part is that when we were introduced to the show, we were introduced to that rural setting, impilo yasemakhaya. And Ntando was moving from one amakaya to another amakaya setting. So I think a lot of us related to that story, because we really loved seeing that those scenes that were shot emakaya with all of the people that they lived with emakaya. So when the show moved to shooting Mlazi, being a second that interesting, so I was so happy that the first scene that they're shooting this season is a Lokuzeni Isolundi, which is Kuboka Siyacela. So they are back home. Okay, one, you guys, I want to comment on the fact that Ntando really looks well, because from last season she was very skinny, and understandably so. She had just she was very skinny even like before she gave birth, and it got worse after giving birth, because and it understandably so, because it happens with a lot of people that you lose weight sometimes during pregnancy and also after pregnancy when you are breastfeeding the baby. So she didn't look well at all last season. Ubengajabulisi ngesizulu sisonjalo ukuthi umzimba wakhe ubungajabulisi. And I was so happy that she is picking up this season. She looks better. Even her face, she just looks she looked happier, especially the first scene that they're shooting, because they are at Ulundi. They're sitting down outside. I think it's like a veranda of their house, because they have a 2-room house. Egcekeni kaDlamuka Thando nayo Siyacela. So they're sitting down ocansini njena with their child. Remember, they had ulubanzi last season. Sikhulile ngane yabo, a very beautiful baby, you guys. I think I don't know what they're trying to do uLokhuzana Mojalove, because I thought that the intention was that they were not going to show us the face of the baby, because at the beginning of the scenes the face of the baby is blurred, but then towards the end of the episode it's no longer blurred. So I was like, I don't understand, why they blurred the face of the baby. I even felt like it almost looked like it wasn't even the same baby that we saw at the beginning of the episode and at the end of the episode. So I don't know what they're trying to do there. I don't know if any of you noticed it, but I noticed it. We ended up seeing the face of the baby. So why did they play the face of the baby at the beginning? So they're sitting there, they're just talking about the fact that, Usiyacela is back home, but he's feeling like everything is different. Thando is feeling the same, everything is different. They feel like it's very strange to be back at Olundi without Ubab Dlamuka. Not a surprise, you guys, when the head of the family passes, the dynamics egcekeni ziyashintsha. The way you feel when you get home kuyashintsha, and they're feeling like it's almost like he is around somewhere and he's gonna come home. It's very sad for them that he is no longer, and it's hard for them to accept, even for Thando. Remember, there were times when it will even feel like Thando uzogana ubab Dlamuka, because it seemed like ubab Dlamuka cared more about Thando and cared more about whether Thando stays kaDlamuka or not, more than Siyacela did. So I'm sure that she misses that special relationship that she had with ubab Dlamuka, even though there were times where they had misunderstandings. Okay, Thando expresses that she doesn't want to go back to Durban, because they were in Durban. Remember the last time they were in Durban, she lived with a cousin or something, but a relative, which I thought wasn't a good idea. And after she gave birth, they were supposed to move to Siyacela's brother's house, Mdu. and apparently they had some issues there. They ended up going back to Olundi. Guys, forgive me, sometimes I mix up Ulundi nenkandla, but Ulundi is where kaDlamuka is, enkandla is where kaMsomi is. kaMsomi kubo kaThando, okay, which means komalume wengane kaThando, okay. So they had some issues there, went back to enkandla. Thando says, you know what, she feels very peaceful. Enkandla, she doesn't even know why she went to Durban. She regrets going to Durban. Apparently, Siyacela fought with Mdu, ending Mdu, and Mdu made a comment of the fact that he does not want anybody emzini wakhe. And Thando said when Mdu said those words, she remembered ukuthi she does have a place which is Enkandla, because Enkandla they had their house, you guys, they had finished it. You remember Thando ethenga laphayana imibhede namakhabethi nani finished that house, so they did have a place to stay. It's just that they preferred being in Durban, but in Durban they did not have their own place, so it was a very hard life, especially for Thando having a young baby, okay. Usiyacela ke insist ukuthi kuyabhora ukuba Solundi. He feels like there's nothing to do, kuthulekile, ufuna ukuyoshaya umoya elona eThekwini. Uthando is like, but uyashaya nje umoya lana, so why would you want to go all the way to Durban ukuthi ushaya umoya uyashaya nalana, okay. And Siyacela also mentions ukuthi him and his brothers are in talks about doing a ceremony kababa wakhe. So I was like, I thought initially it's an unveiling, but uthe ukulahla kwekhali. And then I was like, oh, konje there's something like that. If kushone a head of the family, bazo shisa or bazo washa impahla kababa uDlamuka. And yes, so ukhulula abantu emndenini, you know, like when you have a sifo, when someone dies in the family for some time, a family is not allowed, like there's not supposed to be marriages, any celebrations and all of that, ukuhlatshwa and all that, not just the family, like the immediate family, but the extended family. So like when they do that, it's like they're saying to everybody, now you are free to actually do some celebrations. So that's what they want to do. Even though Siyacela expresses ukuthi akazi ukuthi lo msebenzi uzokwenzeka kanjani, I'm guessing ukuthi he is speaking in terms of imali, but he says definitely they are going to do it. I hope they are able to do it, you guys, so that it can just pass ukuthi leyo nto sebemenzelile ubaba wakhe that a ceremony. Now, you guys, we move to another scene. Okay, one thing that we have to understand as viewers of this show is that when we watch it, we must keep in mind and also keep a watch on the fact that these people, when they shoot the show, about shoot it today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. You know, maybe they come this month and they shoot a scene and they say, okay, we're gonna come next month, what's gonna be happening? Oh, uzobuhambe yolundo cases or so shoot, or we'll come back next week when you do that. So they're not shooting every day. So because it might confuse some people, because on this scene we see Ntando, because okay, the last scene they were sitting and talking about the whole thing of Ubaba Dlamuka and Umsebenzi, they are together in Nkandla. The next thing the next scene Ntando is trying to get hold of Siyacela, because Siyacela had already gone to Durban, and she is trying to get hold of him to tell him ukuthi uyahamba from Olundi. No man, bebengekho eNkandla, bebeSolundi, sorry. Like I say, guys, I'm confusing the two places. So now she is trying to get hold of Siyacela so that she can tell him ukuthi she wants to go eNkandla kubo to visit. So now it might look strange to a viewer ukuthi how, but yesterday you were just with him, but it's not yesterday. That means that there was it's isikhathi that passed between those two scenes. Siyacela between the scenes went back to Durban. According to Thando, he had left on a Saturday. On a Friday, he was supposed to come back the day before she goes to Nkandla, but he doesn't come back. Okay, he doesn't come back, so she ends up going with Mtanaki because she wanted to visit home. Okay, So she's not able to get hold of Siyacela, so she just I guess leaves a message. One thing I was happy about, you guys, Thando has a phone. Okay, that was our biggest complaint as the viewers last season, was that Thando has done 4 seasons of Isencane Lengane. She doesn't own a phone, and there were also accusations of Siyacela is the one that takes the phone from Ntando, because she doesn't want Ntando to keep contact with people. you know I was feeling like it just doesn't make sense. I mean, even the show can, Moja Love can buy Ntando a phone. Why does Ntando not have a phone when she's making so much money for Moja Love? So I'm glad she has a phone now, guys, and it really is a nice phone. She really looks well this season, you guys. Even the clothes that they're wearing, it looks like they really, like, they are kept this season, because last season it just looked like people that have been doing a show for 4 seasons, but they didn't even have something to wear, for an example. So it was really great to see them bebahle nje. They, not ukuthi mhlambe baswenkile kakhulu, but they were decent. Uthando is like looking okay. So yeah, she has a phone at this time. So she goes to Enkal. Listen, I thought, okay, it means she's gonna use public transport. But then later on, I thought, but why would she use public transport? Because she's traveling with the crew. They are shooting this visit. So obviously, she's gonna go with the crew. And at some point when she's there, she does mention going to the car to get some things, which I thought she's not driving. So she must be referring to Imoto of the crew. So I guess they were not really using public transport. She gets there, you guys. I could not believe it. There was a grandmother, Thando, which I think really is her mother's grandmother. But that's the grandmother that raised her, Thando. And that's the grandmother that was crying a lot during the time when Ntando, on the day that Ntando was leaving to Eoshada. That grandmother was crying, because obviously it was very hard for her that Ntando was leaving. Also, she was feeling like Ntando is too young to get married. I could not believe it, because that grandmother is still there. They are so blessed to still have her. So she's still there. Ilawo gogo lawo that, like, khona lento bebeyidla kuqala, this food that they ate back then that made them last longer, because she's just fresh. Maybe it's that castle lager that she drinks. So Tandofa's grandmother sitting outside, guys. It's emakhaya kumnandi. I love the scenery. I love it when Umoja Love is shooting emakhaya. Finds the grandmother sitting outside. She's very happy to see her, happy to see the baby. She gets to hold the baby and kiss the baby. It was just a nice reunion. Thando goes and gets the stuff from the car. She says even though she doesn't work, but every time she goes home, her grandmother sort of expects her to bring some things, and she doesn't like to go home engaphethe lutho. So she's bringing, I mean, it was a couple of plastic bag, maybe 4 or 5, guys, plastic bags that she has, which means she brought some food or something for the family, which was great. I mean, it's really wonderful that she can do that. So they were happy to have her, and she had castle lager, of course, for the grandmother. The grandmother, after upia ufika, ugogo was like, angisazi ubize bani, wathi wozathatha nansi ngane, ngifuna ukuphuza nanku ubhiya wami. Mase phuza ubhiya wakhe wathi hayi cishe ngafa ubulawa ukoma. Okay. And anyway, Tony was happy to see Ugogo. She says Ugogo is one person that makes her laugh, makes her happy. But she kept on asking about Siyacela. If you're here and he's not here, where is he? And Ntando was trying to sort of joke about it and say Siyacela uthathwa amantombazane eThekwini. Now mina senginengane, so angiselutho and all of that. She was joking, but I guess part of it is true, because yes, Siyacela useThekwini and ubhizi ngamantombazane. Okay. And all right, okay. So at some point she does go to the house Lona to spend time, I guess, with her cousins. She says her cousin was there, her aunt was there, but she doesn't clarify which one is the aunt, which one is the cousin. But everybody seems to be happy to have her there. Listen, you guys, I love seeing impilo yasemakhaya, you know, that life yasemakhaya where you can just build indlu like a rondovel, and that rondovel has nothing in it, and you can just go sit in it, undlala ucansi uhlale, that kind of life, you know. That life yokuthi if you have you don't build a house and then immediately you want to put furniture in, you can just have a house nje there ukuthi no rondovel laphayana, osebenzayo mhla usebenza but nje empty nje, you know, that life, you know, it's a nice life yasemakhaya, very simple, you know, life. So then trouble starts again, because of course when we have to deal with Siyacela, when we have to deal with githini vele, when we are dealing with Ntando, we have to deal with Siyacela. That's what I'm trying to say, you know, because of course they are married, you know. And honestly, I'm glad that it show, and I hope ukuthi this continues through the seasons, the season ukuthi focus on shooting scenes where Siyacela is. They must find things for Thando to do so that we get to see Thando whether Siyacela is there or not. So really, honestly, I commend them for being able and making a plan to go to Nkandla to shoot that scene, because that was the most beautiful scene for us to get on the show. Now the trouble starts with Siyacela now, because Siyacela is back in Durban, you know, and I don't know where he is staying, because obviously they had a fight with Mdu, and Mdu said he doesn't want people in his house, okay, but he's busy strolling there on the streets with Umado. Last season Siyacela had made it clear that he no longer has any interest in Mato, akamthandi, the only person that he loves is Thando, and that was it, you know. Umadonna had made it clear ukuthi Siyacela yinja nje, you know, engenalutho, egqokiswa uyena, edla yena, and all of that, and unamanga. So it did feel like last season that it was the end of their relationship. This is what I really hate about these producers, because I feel like Thando no Siyacela have given so much to Moja Love in terms of showing their life on Moja Love, and their show has been one of the most watched on Moja Love. But I feel like sometimes they don't in the show, they don't show that they have the best interest of Thando, or at least their marriage, because last season it all seemed like they had broken up. And from what we hear right now from a conversation Siyacela no Mato, which is the girlfriend from last season, whom he said he doesn't want anything to do with her, they haven't been seeing each other, it sounds that way. And they are seeing each other because now they want to shoot the show. So it makes me feel like the producers are putting pressure on Siyacela to go back to Umato so that they can get those scenes with them, because their conversations, they are still talking about things that happened last season, about them saying certain things during diary sessions, because obviously it was a breakup of some sort, you know. So I don't know why the producers will feel like it is okay for them to push to shoot those scenes with Siyacela no Mato, when they know that is not something that is the of best interest for Thando, or at least for their marriage. Okay, we already know Velu Siyacela better, we don't like him and all of that, but you know, why do they need those scenes, you know? And the scenes that when Thando sees them, they're going to hurt her feelings, especially because it doesn't seem like these people have been spending time together. They are just coming together now for the show. I don't get that about these producers. Honestly, I don't. Okay, so then they are talking with Umado, and we are sure okay, it's the nature of their relationship, bayaxolelana, baxabane baphinde baxolelane, and all of that. Uyabuza Siyacela kulona ukuthi usamthanda yini. Umato at some point even says she had found someone else, but I guess she's going to break up with that person to get back with Siyacela. And yeah, okay. I put a note here to say they look better. in terms of the clothes, because I was looking at Siyacela and I felt like last season I did feel like I ngeke ngathi bayashoda laba empahleni zokugqoka, you know, yena uSiyacela kanye noThando. So I put that note for that reason yokuthi I was seeing him looking nice, and I feel like okay, maybe I feel like maybe imali for the last season came right before they started shooting this season, because definitely they look better. But I also feel like, guys, you know, the fact that they've done this show for so long, and also they have brought so much money for Umoja Love, maybe they even deserve a wardrobe allowance. Like if a season before the season starts, they should give them money to buy some clothes so they look nice being on TV. I think if they're doing that for them, it really would just make sense, because they do make money for the a lot of money for this channel. Okay, so he looks better. Okay, and now Umato insists on the fact that she wants to meet Ntando. Apparently, there was a time when Siyacela tried to get them together so they could meet. I don't know for what, you guys. I don't know about these side chicks that always want to meet the wife. Like, what deal do you have with the wife? You know, what do ushelane nomuntu somewhere, now you want to meet the wife for what? You know. And she says Umatoyena, the only thing that stands in the way of her and Siyacela is Ntando ukuthi, because Siyacela always tells her ukuthi Ntando knows about her, but Ntando will say she doesn't know, so she wants to meet Ntando. For what? I don't know. I hate this story that they're trying to pursue in terms of Umato, these producers. This is one thing that I'm not gonna be happy about when it comes to this show. Why are they doing that to Ntando? Okay. So and then, so I guess they're talking about Uxolelana again, because obviously, like I say, you guys, it seemed like labantu akaze bakhulume since last season, or they were not really that much in touch. Okay, so Siyacela is asking Umato ukuthi wayemthukelane, talking about that scene where Umato said ukuthi Siyacela inja. Uyamtshela ukuthi no, it was the way obu behavior ngayo at the time. Okay, so uyasho Siyacela ukuthi yena useshintshile, can they start afresh? So I guess they are deciding on starting afresh with their relationship. So Umato then asks Siyacela ukuthi, okay, so what about the engagement? Because remember, Siyacela, was it last season? It wasn't last, it was a season before, where Siyacela had taken Umato out to this fancy restaurant and popped out a ring and asked her to marry her. And Umato said yes. Okay, so they were engaged. Now he's asking us, so why would you ask me about the engagement when you're not even wearing the ring? And Umato says, "Go to ring." If she flushed it down the toilet when she was when they had a fight, and Siyacela, and yeah, so they had a fight. She flushed it down the toilet. I don't know, guys. She might have sold it. Umato ubuka njengale. Ubuka nje abantu badlala sesitrateni. Okay. So yeah, I guess you know, it was that talk ukuthi so siyalungisa izinto or not. And Umato was putting conditions of which she wants to meet ulokhuzana Ntando, and yeah, you guys. So at the end, when they are doing ilokhuzana diary session, Siyacela does say ukuthi anginandaba nabanye abantu, the only person that I love is Umato. And then Umato corrects him and he's like, no, but I'm not the only one who love you. Love Ntando too. She's like, no, I mean, I don't care what other people say. Anginandaba nabanye abantu. Talking about abantu abangaphandle. I just love you. Okay. I did like the fact that Umato was real about the fact that, listen, you have a wife, so you can't be telling me you love me and love me only here. You love your wife, okay? But at the same time, I'm like, so why are you with a man that you know loves his wife? Okay. It's a crazy story, you guys, when it comes to Isencane Lengane. It's a crazy story that is going to make you mad. If it's the first time watching the show, it's going to make you mad. You're going to want to punch the TV. My daughter was watching Siyacela athi yazi ngathi ehlele ebhentshini athi ngathi ngingangena ku TV ngimphushe aginqike. He would say things that makes you mad, you know, especially when I was talking about Mato Aqambamanga. Imagine his wife is there, Nkandla, visiting the grandmother with the baby and busy with the girls here instead of going to Nkandla with his wife. Imagine. But you guys, that was the episode for today, okay? I always think that there is so much that they could show us, especially when it comes to Thando and her life. I still want to hear what the plan is because she never passed her grade 12. So I want to hear what the plan is in terms of her just, you know, preparing herself for the future. I want to hear that. So I really wouldn't want to watch every season of Isencane Lengane being about Thando fighting for Siyacela. I want to see her do other things that, you know, potentially improves her life. And I don't know if they're going to show us that, but I really loved the visit to the grandmother. You know, I love that. Okay, anyway, you guys, tell me what you thought about this first episode for this season of Isencane Lengane in the comment section. Like the video before Pumegona, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Nginithanda kakhulu.